Hello and welcome to our Round Coaching podcast, episode number 53. I have got my co-host Mel with me as well.
Good evening. All day.
Well, hopefully everyone will be listening to this in the day because I imagine we're not someone's bedtime routine.
You never know. You never know when people are listening to podcasts. So we were talking about it a while ago in the All Around Coaching group, and I think, sorry Jess, I'm calling you out here for being an absolute psychopath, but I think you were listening to true crime podcasts in the middle of a workout. So you can never truly know when people are listening to our podcast or anybody else's for that matter.
Okay, well hopefully this soothes someone to sleep or motivates them either way. I got back into training after having probably a couple of weeks off because I got ill, more so run down, but then I actually feel like it might actually be hay fever now, which I've never had. I feel like I've got a forever cold, so I just feel all nasally and congested.
Yeah, I mean, you were bunged up with something, but it seems to be lingering on now, which sounds like hay fever, where you just can't stop sniffling and you're absolutely walloped and tired all the time.
It's because I'm 34 next month. It's got me. It never got me before. I feel like I'm being taken down in my prime. I said to you the other day, you haven't got me in my prime anymore. It's gone.
Oh, I got taken down with hay fever in my mid-20s, so...
I've had a good run.
Yeah, you've done well.
But no, on this podcast, we're going to talk, we're going to title it, what's stopping you? But the reason people actually fall off as well, because I think we've just had a look at the statistics, and the average person that gets started with the gym, but obviously leading up to summer, they last about 6 months and drop off altogether.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why that we decided that this was a pretty decent topic to kind of cover was because I don't know how many people have noticed this themselves, where, and I'm only saying it because I've done it in the past, where you go, okay, right, it's sunny now, which it was last week, you start to think about going on holiday or going to that wedding abroad or going to that wedding in general, or whatever event you've got going on in summer. And you start thinking, right, I've got to get my summer body on, which I absolutely despise that kind of phrase, but I'll use it anyway.
I do hate when people say it because obviously it isn't built within a few weeks, and that's what I am going to go into anyway. I'll let you finish what you're saying and then I'll jump in.
Thanks, co-host. But yeah, it's just interesting that people have started to pick up exercise and training, which is mega. Like, I love to see it. But then I just questioned Claire last night when we were kind of like walking around, just like how many people like actually sustain certain things. Like, for example, I've seen a few people kind of post out that they're looking to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, to go for a run at 6 o'clock, which, like, I certainly couldn't keep that up. Like, amazing, mega wonderful if you can do that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit skeptical, but I can only see that falling off after a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I took notes on it because people, they go at it with full extreme and they expect the results to be quick and instant. Obviously you drop off because it's not part of your normal routine. So I always say to people, like, think about what you can actually sustain. And I couldn't get up at 5 a.m. and I know people can do it, but if someone's not a morning person, like, eventually it is going to go against the grain for them, and that's when they will give up. So thinking about what you can actually sustain, and not just thinking, well, Debbie down the road gets up at 5 and goes for a jog, so I'm going to do that. Like, it might not work for you. Like, finding your sweet spot of the times that you work best. Like, some people don't want to go after work, or some people have that luxury of working at home and going on the break. Like, find a time that works for you, and I think that's the best thing I did for myself as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that obviously people have got to try and find what works for them, haven't they? So there's not to say that getting up at 5 a.m. and going for a run at 6 isn't going to work for anybody, because obviously it absolutely can, 100%. I just know that I did it when, obviously before I met Claire, where I was like, right, okay, I'm going to do the gym in the morning because I felt like that's what the healthier thing to do was for whatever reason. And I would do it for about a week, 2 weeks maximum, and then I would slowly start to slip off. And fall back into what I would class as my normal routine, which was either not doing anything at all or going once or twice after work. So for me, that almost an extreme, which when you are trying to achieve something with where you want to go in your goals, it feels like it has to be an extreme, but it obviously doesn't.
No, I always say if the goal's extreme, like i.e. bodybuilding or photo shoot, then the actions kind of have to match it. But on the same vein, like, if you actually don't enjoy running, by the way, it isn't the way to fat loss. Like, I don't enjoy it and I'll never fucking do it. So if you don't actually enjoy running, please stop thinking that you have to do it. I'm going to put that note out there. If you enjoy it, crack on, but it needs to be matched with the resistance training so you don't actually injure yourself as well. Because I think a lot of people neglect this. They think, oh, I'm going to run, so I don't need to lift weights, and they both kind of need to marry up. So, yeah.
Have you not found over the years, though, especially with women, for example, where they almost avoid the weight training, the resistance training, because they don't want to look big, they don't want to look hench?
Yeah, and it's a myth that kind of doesn't die, because people, they still focus on the scale weight. If I build muscle, muscle weighs more than fat. It absolutely does not. Please don't say this. A pound of muscle is a pound of fat. Muscle's denser, it takes up less space in the body. Obviously, fat takes up more. But muscle doesn't make you bigger. Fat does, because obviously fat takes up more room in the body. Like, you aren't going to get big from going and lifting weights. If anything, you're probably going to end up with a nice toned, sleek physique after years of training. And note that I say years, like it isn't weeks, and it probably isn't months for a lot of people.
It was nice the other day, though, like, it's lovely to hear, obviously, because I'm your partner, but it's always also nice to hear just in general. But, like, you've had quite a lot of, like, positive feedback from your clients recently, and I think one of them said to you the other day, like, she wished she'd started this a year ago.
Yeah.
Which is mega to hear for you, like, but at least you started. That's the main thing.
Yeah, there's no perfect time to start, and I think I don't want to say I'm fortunate, but obviously I started when I was 13, and I've not looked back. But don't think you're at a certain age where it is too late to start, or that you can't do it. Obviously, it's better to start it now than never start it at all.
I think that's where it succeeded for me. Then it started to click when I started training with you, where it didn't feel like it had to be an extreme. So I came to you thinking, right, she's going to absolutely pound me into the ground. I'm going to be on 5-6 training sessions a week. I'm going to be eating fuck all calories, like, but she's going to get me to where I need to. But in actual fact, you completely blew my mind, because it was almost not the opposite per se, but you're like, right, how many times are you actually getting to the gym a week? Right, it's 2 times a week. Okay, what we'll do is we'll get you up to 2-3 times a week is the optimum. We're going to give you X amount of calories, like, to play with, like, over the week, rather than breaking it down into days. And then this is the movement that I want you to do outside of the gym. And rather than giving it in an extreme and obviously completely ramshackling my whole lifestyle, like, you had to then you fit yourself into the way that I live and the way that I move and the way that I work.
Yeah, and it's building it up as well, because I've been questioned on it. Like, everybody thinks when they come to me, I'm going to make them train 5 to 6 days. They're going to be doing copious amounts of cardio. I'm going to whack 10,000 steps or more, and they have to live the life. And everything isn't through the gym and exercise. Like, I want it to complement your life and not take away from it. I want it to fit into your life, and I want it to be part of your life. And I do say this, like, your health is for life, so it makes sense to actually look after yourself. So no, it isn't extreme. I think most of my people train 3 to 4 times a week. I don't feel the need for, like, the 5 to 6 days. Like, if you enjoy it, crack on. But a lot of people haven't got that time. Like, if you've got kids or you've got a busy job, like, there's no point in me saying go to the gym 6 times a week, get 10,000 steps in. Oh, by the way, you're going to do cardio 5 times a week as well.
And statistics say that the reason why people drop off the gym or drop off training is because of time, like lack of. And I think there's always that perception that you have to be in the gym for an hour at least, and if you haven't been in there for an hour at least, you've not done a good session. But, like, my sessions this week have ranged anywhere between 34 minutes and 45, like 50 minutes, which...
Yeah, and it's removing that all or nothing mentality. Like, 15-20 minutes of exercise is going to be better than doing absolutely fuck all.
Yeah.
Because I used to be that person, if I couldn't train for an hour, then there was no point in going, and I didn't get anywhere. But I get further now training. Like, my sessions last, because obviously I do my rest period properly, and they're about 30-40 minutes if I'm training on my own.
Yeah, because you don't have to go in and fucking spend ages of time. Like...
No, and if you're training with intensity, you cannot keep going for hours on end either. I am going to put that out there. Controversial to some. Like, if you enjoy it, crack on. I know it is good for your mindset, but your intensity is probably lost after an hour and a half anyway.
And I think that kind of, with obviously coaching and the fact that obviously the difference with you and like a PT is that obviously it's all of the other aspects outside of the gym, like, because you've been unwell like last week or the week before, like, you've still continued that kind of more, I suppose, that better lifestyle because you've eaten more accountably, like, you've still moved, like, you just haven't trained.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't lose all my gains in the past couple of weeks either. The one thing I did was I had a little bit more time to get out and walk, and granted the weather was absolutely glorious, but I didn't let my walking go off track, and I didn't say, fuck it, I can't train, so I might as well eat shit, and that's what a lot of people do. Like, they throw everything out the window because they can't train, but your nutrition's probably a key part in actually sustaining and building your results, not that little session in the gym that you're doing. So, and I actually looked better for it. Even though I'd been ill and my body was under stress, it made no sense to train, but I looked better for probably having a little rest, a deload, and actually getting my, walking in, but was more steps, and my nutrition was on track.
Yeah, and I think they do say that obviously that's why your better body is built within the kitchen, isn't it? There's no point in you going doing that training session and then smashing the shitload of biscuits. And that again, that comes to the extremes, isn't it? Is that people naturally tend to go onto the crash diets, the ketos, the fucking, I don't know, 1,000 calories a day kind of diets.
Yeah, elimination and restriction kicks in with people because they'll think they'll get there quicker if they do this. They do it for a couple of weeks and they think, well, this is how you do it. I can't do it, so I'm not going to bother. And they think that it's impossible, and it isn't.
Because I've done those, like, obviously a couple of like 6 week programs where like you're given a certain amount of calories, which is massively lower than what you're used to eating, and then wondering why you're absolutely starving and craving like sugar and craving stuff that you used to have. Like we are like, I don't feel deprived whatsoever in what we eat. Like
No, I never feel like I'm on a diet, and like hunger is absolutely normal. So if you are eating in a calorie deficit, like sometimes you will be hungry, and that's where your volume comes in. But actually enjoying what you eat, like people slip into that mentality of good and bad food, or they slip into everything being low calories, and it's just think like what's healthful for you and what's optimal for you and what do you actually enjoy, and getting a mixture of 80% whole foods, which isn't processed or junk, and then 20% of the shit foods, which I know Eddie Abu wouldn't agree with. But you can enjoy a diet and you can make results without it taken away from your life.
It's really funny because like we went on a walk on Sunday, didn't we, to Limdam with one of your clients who's on the app access, and
Yeah.
like we were telling one of the guys that was wandering around, like obviously he was asking about Claire and like what she does and stuff, and like we were talking about the food that we eat, and we were saying, oh, like I think I said like, oh, we have burgers, like we have flatbreads, like we have tacos, and like he kind of looked at us as if to say, are you not supposed to be like a coach, like, and but that those are actually still within like the remits of obviously what we're trying to achieve, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, everyone associates dieting with salads and I don't
suffering.
know. Yeah, literally. You don't have to suffer, and it doesn't have to be salads. Like portion control is a big one, and making sure that you're getting your carbs, your fats, your protein, and obviously your micronutrients, your fibres, your vitamins and minerals. Like it isn't all just about protein, but obviously it's a big part, and it's probably the biggest one that people do struggle with because everybody's diet is heavily processed now, and that's where people are struggling with eating less calories because you'll be matched with, I don't eat a lot, but the food that they are eating is calorie dense, so obviously it's higher in calories, and that's why they're gaining weight.
Yeah, and I think it's foods that they don't realise are higher in calories as well.
Yeah, that's why, like, logging isn't the be all and end all, but it does give you that nutritional awareness. Like, you can see how much actually is in food and what you are actually eating. And sometimes, if you've got any gut issues, you've got a little food diary there as well to help you. So, like, if your takeaway from this today, from the podcast, like, it doesn't have to be suffering, it doesn't have to be extreme, and just think what you can build into your life that you're going to be able to sustain for maybe the rest of your life. Because unfortunately, like, your exercise, your nutrition, and your health isn't just like a 10-week block where you're going to keep it forever after you've done it once. Like it's a repetition.
Have you found I know that you're trying to wrap it up then, but I know that have you ever found like quite a lot of resistance? I know you did with me when you first start with people, like that initial, I don't want to do that, like that doesn't make sense to me, like.
Yeah, and I will explain why I've put something in. So there'll be clients where I'll explain why you shouldn't be just adding more and more cardio. Like for one, exercise isn't a punishment for what you've eaten. Two, you're probably bringing your appetite up, so then you'll end up eating more. And I know this because I've done it myself. Three, people think if they train more, they're going to get there quicker, but then you're not recovering outside the gym, so the next session is suffering with intensity. You're not going to be able to train hard because you're absolutely fucked because you've already trained 4 to 5 times. But people just think that the more they do, the quicker they get there, and it isn't. Or if they eat super minimal calories, then they'll speed it up, and they won't. Like, it's better to do it slow and steady and actually achieve the results than try and fucking hit the ground running 100 miles per hour and burn out after a week.
Yeah, you're effectively giving people like the stabilizers to a better life, and eventually you want to be able to take them away, don't you?
Yeah, like people think like, why is this not extreme? Why do I not feel like I'm suffering? And it's people that have done the diets that have been extreme that probably have a little bit more resistance, or they've had someone prior to me that's probably not taught them wrong, but probably not explained things well enough to, obviously when I come in, things are a little bit more in depth, a little bit more personable, and I do know how to get people to the goal. Like if they come to me for fat loss, I know how to do it, building muscle, building your habits, healthier lifestyle, etc. And obviously a lot of time management and structure I help clients with as well. So there's more than one realm that I do, but overall I actually know how to get people where they want to go. I just need the communication and the trust from them. And then obviously if there isn't communication, by the way, I cannot do fuck all. That's one of my pet hates.
Yeah, I mean that's where that's where if you are kind of paying you for a service and the option to check in is there, then I don't understand why you wouldn't check in.
Yeah, your check-ins are so important. Like, it's probably the biggest and most valuable part of coaching because, one, I get to help you, and two, it's probably the times that you're struggling that I'll be able to help you even more.
Yeah.
So your communication, honesty are the biggest parts, and it's what I value and what I get from coaching as well.
I think it's interesting with obviously that's why you tailored 42 Elite, the obviously 6-week program, into something that is more around, right, okay, well, I'm not here to kind of come in and absolutely blast the shit out of you for 6 weeks because that just doesn't align with your goals and your values. Like, the aim for you with 42 Elite is essentially to get people started, give people an idea and almost like a taster of what coaching is like, and get them set up to then continue. Like, I think your success rate of people actually staying on 42 Elite is like, what, 85% or something like that. Like,
yeah, and a lot of people stay on, like, even just to have the group support and the structure through the app access, people have stayed on. So even though it's a 6 weeks intro to coaching, it's not me saying I'm going to get shredded in 6 weeks. Obviously, if you look pretty decent beforehand, you've got a decent amount of muscle, I can do that for you, but it isn't what I sell, and I won't sell that. Like, I don't like saying a summer shred, a summer shred, because it isn't what I'm going to do. Like, it's unrealistic to promote that, so I wouldn't ever sell that dream to someone. And I think when I do have consultations or I have chats with people, I always start with, I'm not going to sell you the dream. Like, I am honest with my approach and what I do, and you know what, I'm not for everyone. Not everyone's been a success case, but obviously I always think if I work with people that don't align with me and my goals, I won't waste their time or mine.
Well, they've got to meet you, like, and if they meet you in the middle, then you'll give them threefold. Like, it comes back round. So if people communicate, obviously it's interesting really because a lot of your 42 Elites do check in more regularly than some of your online clients do.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to compare it to when I first started, like some of the OGs that are personal training, when I first started out, obviously they still get check-ins, they see me in person, versus the hybrid and the 42 Elite, they do check in more. Their success rates have been higher. Like, I've been able to help them when they're struggling. So the ones that check in do the best, and not just like a physical transformation, but their overall health, the fitness, the lifestyle. Like, Chris Foster was one of them. Like, he just changed his life around, but he was consistent with it. He always communicated, and obviously he moved more towards app access while he's on he's getting married, actually. I think he might be married by now. And then he'll be moving back to online where I can support him further, because obviously his goal isn't done for him.
Well, the same with Emma. Like, we've had Emma on the podcast. Like, anybody that follows Claire's Instagram page will see Emma's testimonial. But like, she did the 42 Elite program because she needed to get back into the gym again. But her main concern was, I'm not getting any younger, but these dogs that I groom on the daily are getting heavier. Like, and she physically needed to be able to pick these dogs up in order to do a job. Like, she's a business owner, so if she can't do the things that she needs to do, then she's going to struggle. Like, it's not just I want to look absolutely fucking mint. It's about, actually, I need to be able to live.
Yeah. And do you know what? She's responded well to the training, actually. She does actually look amazing at the minute, but I put a win out from her today, and she's able to actually lift a doggo that's 45 kilo, which is pretty close to, it's not far off my weight, to be fair.
A moving animal is.
But she isn't getting injured while she's doing it now, because I know a while ago she hurt her arm and stuff. So it's things like that. Like, it isn't just about the physical, even though she does look amazing. She can move better and she feels better in herself. So
same with Pauline. Like, Pauline's doing amazing. Like, a lot. Joanne's another good, really, really good example of that as well, where, you know, she's obviously looking forward to going on holiday.
And she feels really confident in just like how she looks and what she's done. And obviously I did a little video of her today, which I did share on Instagram, and she didn't realise that she looked like that. Obviously no one ever gets to see the back, and I'm a backs and shoulders kind of person, but she was really proud of it, and I'm proud of her for it as well. From someone that didn't want to step into a gym and had gym anxiety, and I'd just launched hybrid, where I only let people see me twice per month. Well, I don't only let people see me, like, they communicate with me and see me other times, but it was me saying, I'm not going to hold your hand in the gym. Like, I want you to train independently, because if I'm not there, like, you've still got 2 or 3 other sessions to train. Me being there for one of them isn't going to get you to your results quicker. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but your hybrids, I think that the initial line of thought was obviously you'll get them to a point where they do feel confident in the gym. They no longer have that gym anxiety.
Yeah.
And then they're again, talking about that stabilizers approach, is that you've put the stabilizers on, and eventually I imagine that Joanne will be one of those people that can move on to online because she feels
Yeah.
comfortable.
And I know
with...
people just stay with me because they like working with me in
they like
person.
seeing you as well, like, which is
So,
always nice.
yeah. But obviously with hybrid, it isn't me saying, oh, pay more per month. Like, I say to people after 3 months, like, if you feel ready for it, you can go to online. So it isn't me upselling either. Like, I want people to be independent. I want them to train. I want them to be healthier.
Yes,
So,
and it's giving them the tools and the habits and the information and guidance to live with a healthier body, rather than hammer themselves into the ground, get themselves up at daft o'clock, or train at stupid o'clock at night, like, just to reach a goal which isn't attainable. So you're very much about that holistic lifestyle approach. Let's build your habits and get you something that you can live with for the rest of your life.
yeah, just think balance and realistic and what you can sustain. So I will wrap it up here, but just remember that it doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to eliminate foods, and please don't use Netflix or Instagram as your education source, because it's absolutely bollocks. So yes, I will leave it there. The 42 Elite intake is open until the 7th of June as well. So if you want an intro into coaching, get started, get stronger, get fitter, get healthier, then you can click the link in this, or obviously you can have a look on my Instagram and read a little bit more about me.
There you go. I'll see you until next time.
Goodbye.